acknowledge that they're dysfunctional. But the beginning of a healing is to not acknowledge that you are sick.
Everybody can't own up to being stupid. Now, come on, you can't give anybody that
The beginning of healing is to acknowledge that you're sick. When they say they're trying to treat an alcoholic, he must first admit he's an alcoholic.
Of course.
And we have to admit this thing in order to get out of this thing.
How many black people you know can admit to that?
You're talking about my field. You're talking about I worked in 10 years of psychology. You're talking about I worked 10 years. Let me finish. I worked 10 years as a psychologist in United States Army. I worked 1 year as a research institution. You're talking about my field. Now we're not going into psychology. I'm just trying to stay in this little subject called nature.
No, let's go into psychology in our last 15 minutes.
No, stay with it.
Because I think this is the most important
I'm out of the behind. I'm into the mind. No,
I'm in behind into the mind.
Yeah. Leave me alone. I'm the guest here.
Come on.
I'm supposed to have the fun.
I'm just
interject. What you're saying, brother, is that an extreme lack of knowledge of ourselves would drive us to do things that we normally wouldn't do because of all the different things that you were just talking about.
Right.
So who is in control of us not tapping back into those things? Because there was a physical slavery, and then now there's a mental slavery.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I don't have enough.
Now I'm not trying to.
You haven't touched on spirituality.
I'm not trying to.
We haven't
pointing the finger at a certain type of people.
I know what you're saying.
But our people never want to put it like this. They always want to look at themselves and hate themselves and say, "Niggas."
Like Malcolm says in the beginning.
They never want to say that someone else is doing it. Someone else is in control of all the religious systems, in the medical system, in the educational system, in the legal system. They always want to say, "Niggas are the problem."
If you do that, then you have to attack your enemy. Then you have to be an adult and face the problem.
And that's what they don't want to do.
No, see, we have codependent behavior. It's the same as a woman married to an alcoholic. As long as she stays with the alcoholic, she's participating in the alcoholic's addiction. And we have codependent behavior. Us as a race. You see, that's another. Say
that again.
Us as a race.
Right.
We have codependent behavior, which is similar to a woman married to an alcoholic. As long as she don't put him out the house and stays in that relationship, she is worse off than he is, because she's more addicted to him being dysfunctional.
So now, in our situation, what would happen to us?
Our sanity is based on how dysfunctional white people are. As long as they're dysfunctional, we stay sane.
And that has a lot to do with our spirituality, doesn't it?
Yeah, we go through for crazy spirituality stuff. Because spirituality is just a philosophical concept, a philosophical way of understanding God. That's all it is.
Okay.
And anyone who studies this thing knows that you only worship the created. You don't worship things that are created, which is the air, a prophet, a religion. You don't worship creation. You don't worship nature. Anything created can make mistakes. You only worship the creator.
Okay.
We know that, because that's what we learned before we got on those slave ships. Right. Now we got people worshiping chicken, damn it. Chicken is a religion in our race. You never worship creation, you worship the creator.
Where's
chicken?
Where? You mean fried chicken?
Yeah, right. And I don't know how chicken got a breast anyway. Chicken don't have no titties. So it's a sexual thing now. We want to, chicken don't have no titties, so I don't know why they say chicken breast. And I don't know why black people want the white meat on the turkey anyway. What's wrong with the ghetto meat, the dark meat?
That's all psychological.
Yeah, so that...
I'd be interested to see what sort of psychological problems the black people had in the army. With my little stench in there.
That's another story altogether, man. Only did Vietnam and Saudi Arabia.
So that's another show.
No, I don't want to go there. Let me stay with my little vitamins and minerals and herbs.
Okay. That's another show. Wow. What's the answer? We've gone through a lot of the problems. What's your take on how to solve half these things?
Well, for me, I think the healthier you are, the more you're able to solve your problems. So, for me, a person having 3 bowel movements a day is a tremendous accomplishment.
Yes.
You see, I'm trying to get people healthy enough so they can see a solution.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I don't feel healthy if I don't have 3 a day.
Yeah, but you're not using perfume-scented toilet paper, are you? You don't have a nose stuck up your ass, do you? You're not going to go there, are you?
But you should pretty much have a bowel movement each meal that you eat.
Yeah, in your
so
bowel.
You eat 3 meals a day, but if you only eat 1 meal a day, you should pretty much have one bowel movement throughout the day.
And your bowel movement should smell like what you ate.
That's right.
One?
If you eat 1 meal a day.
1 meal, 1 bowel movement.
Okay.
And I'm saying it should smell like what you ate.
Exactly.
It should not smell like manure or some skunk fart.
So you're putting poisons in your body if it does stink.
But that's food combining, and those are the things that will make it have a smell.
True.
It should be light brown and you're healthy.
Yeah, kind of mushy and float. But if it sinks and flushes its own self down the toilet, or comes out a senior citizen with gray hair on it, I mean, the turd is old.
Right. People don't realize how much you should study what comes out of your body.
No, they don't want to look at the bowel movement. They don't look at the urine. The urine foams and you urinate, then you're not drinking enough water. You're dehydrated.
Okay.
It's basic kind of things that we do.
So you wash your stool, and what should a stool basically look like?
It should be kind of soft. It shouldn't be shaped like a hot dog, and it should float.
It should float.
Yeah, it should have some fiber in it, which causes it.
If it's floating, you're all right.
Pretty much, and you shouldn't be farting. Farting is not done with roaches, birds, bees. If you're farting, you're sick. Every time you fart, you're dying, essentially.
So it should float. The heavier it is, the more toxic it is.
It's not heavy. It's the fiber makes it float. You see.
Mm.
But the thing is that we use illness as a measure for health. When you have a decreased blood supply to your body, your cheeks are rosy red. So disease is a fashion in this country. So women make their cheeks rosy, which means they're not getting enough circulation to the brain. And if you cross your legs, it's a symptom of constipation. That's where it comes from, because no statues or paintings of people in Egypt or our pyramids or anybody has our statue with our people ancestors.
What do you think about American culture, black culture? You know, you're not black unless you're eating chitlins and hog maw and.
Why you want to take this conversation on a ghetto level? Man?
Well, I mean, this is
what you had
well, I'm talking to my ghetto folks. Man. Come on now, let's get down with it. Now you talk about black food. We talk about soul food.
Talking about that Sunday dinner right there.
You know what I mean? How do you get people from stop eating chitlins on New Year's Eve and the way it stinks? You know, I didn't say stink, that way it stinks.
Stinks, yeah. Chitterlings, yeah, okay.
All right? Or pig feet, pig ears.
With bunions and corns on the feet.
You know what I mean? All right?
Ears not even cleaned out. Okay.
All right?
Well, first thing I do is get them to do low-fat chitterlings. And how you accomplish that is boil them once and then put them in the fridge and the grease gets hard up top. And then you boil them again and the grease and you take the grease off. So I get them to do that 3 times and then they get low-fat chitterlings. That's the first thing I do, because I'm going ghetto. You wanted to go there, so I'm going there.
I'm reaching a lot of people out there now. I'm reaching a lot of people out there who say, you ain't black unless you eat your pork chops.
Yeah.
If you don't like the pig. The pig, you know, even Dr. John Henry Clark said to Malcolm, said, man, don't you know the pig kept black people alive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we free, brother.
But we still eating the pig.
Yeah, and the only thing you're going to have left eating that food is your soul.
Okay.
That's why they call it soul food, because that's the only thing you're going to have. You're going to lose your eyes, your kidneys, your veins, your arteries.
They don't eat the pig in Africa?
They do. Africa's been thoroughly colonized. That's where they got us from.
All right.
You know?
Okay.
So, but what we're talking about is people associating a diet with a culture that's not even been defined. And that's not our culture, eating scraps of animals.
Greens. Collard greens are good for you, though, right?
It's full of calcium, but to season it with the pig knuckles or whatever they call it, and ham hockeys.
Yeah, ham hock.
Yeah, that's not.
That's not healthy.
Yeah. The problem is that we haven't.
How do we survive eating all this crap and all the stress?
Well, you have to go into the slave archives, Alabama archives, and we were eating the bark of trees, which we call slip-around bark, and we eating a dandelion salad, poke salad. We eating a lot of organic, raw food to help drive this stuff out of our system. That's why cattle eat hay to flush this stuff out of their system. So we were eating a lot of fiber then that we're not eating now.
During slavery?
Yeah, we were eating maple bark, maple leaves, poke salad, dandelion salad, maple bark, all kind of stuff that we're not even eating.
Which we got from the African culture we brought with us.
Yeah, we brought the string beans here, red onions. A lot of foods are African. Most of the foods we eat are from Africa today.
Okay.
But we don't associate culture with food. That's the problem. We're back to that again. We're not associating culture with food like the Chinese do when they come here. The Asians, they open up an Asian market, the Chinese market, because they can't eat unless they see China on the plate.
Right.
So we got to associate culture with food. Without associating culture with food, we can never be healthy.
And our association with culture is, you know...
Slave food.
Yeah.
And slave sexual behavior. We just rape each other. We don't have our cultural rituals for sex.
How do you get to young people? Younger than
Oh, they are my largest audience, and they're the ones who hire me the most in the world.
Is that right?
Yes.
The young?
Yes, the young people.
Because they know something's basically wrong.
Yes, and they can hear the truth. They may not understand some of the words I use, but they feel something is right about this. And so they basically my largest audience.
You know, I'm sorry we didn't have time to play James Davis. That's a long piece. I don't know, we're just running out of time.
I thought we just started.
I know. I'm sorry we don't have more time. I only got 5 minutes left. What's the answer?
I don't know these things. All I do is try to get people in a healthy enough state so they can see an answer. Because I've been made dysfunctional. I think I was ruined during kindergarten from eating milk and cookies, frankly. I think I lost most of my brain then. But I think the youth, if you give them the right nutritional foundation, they can see an answer clear.
What about us old folks? Any hope for us?
I think you're just a waste of time, actually. I'm more geared toward young people. I'm not geared to people my age. You know, I'm 57, so most of my audience is not even there, man. I'm just like Henry Clark and other people his age. How many people in the audience was Henry Clark's age or Ben Yakinam's age? How many people? Their audience is young people.
But they were historians.
My audience is young people.
But you're talking about health, which is everybody's concern.
Man.
I mean, I want to live to be 100, okay?
Yeah.
So I should know from today on to listen to you and take some of these things into consideration.
Are you
now,
what should I? You don't eat salt.
Oh, I love salt.
Why are you going to say that to me?
Because I love salt. I eat salt like crazy. If you see me gonna eat something, you see how much salt I put on my food?
You're just saying that for the program, right?
No, it's the truth.
Really?
Yeah. You'd be cringing. Man, look at this food.
It says salt is associated with anger. And anger.
Frustration.
I guess that's why I'm angry. Well, I have a lot to be angry about. I mean, it doesn't show here, but, you know, I'm mad about a lot of stuff.
What you mad about? You don't seem to...
Because I have a good...
You don't eat sugar, right?
I'm trying to tables on. What do you seem mad about, brother?
What am I mad about?
Yeah, what are you mad about? Because I seen your introduction piece on Malcolm.
Right.
And who made you niggas is the premise and why we was asking the brother the question.
Exactly.
Not to alienate the audience, you know what I mean? But who actually did all these things to make us that? Now, I understand you said there's some sort of accountability that we should have. Right. I agree to that to some extent. But when you really don't know who you are and in that capacity, there's no way that you could function on that level.
Well, you know, when I was your age, I was back there with Malcolm. So, you know, I was 25 when Malcolm died. So, I remember the early beginning.